Manchester United and Arsenal always seem to play each other in the first month of the season, and this 2023-24 season is no different. For this episode of Retro Devils, the Man United history podcast, and ahead of this weekend's clash with the Gunners, I sat down with my good friend Iain Goodlad to discuss one of our favourite United matches of all time, the famous 8-2 victory over Arsenal from August 2011, 12 years ago this very week. I'm delighted to be joined today by my good pal Iain. Welcome to Retro Devils.
Thanks for having me, John. Very excited about it.
Yeah, this isn't our first time podcasting together, is it? Do you want to explain a little bit about that history?
Yeah, so I think it was 6 years ago, yourself and I and our good friend Craig Mann, we did the What About the Pickup rugby podcast, covering each week just the various goings on in the world of rugby, bit of match reviews and general chit chat. We did it for a few months. I think we did. I think
it was about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
all told.
And then I think it was hard to fit it in amongst our various work shifts. I remember once we finish an episode at like 1 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah, it got a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, and it's probably gotten harder to do now with, well, I've got 2 little kids now and everyone else has their goings on and stuff, so it was a shame it had to stop. Like, I did enjoy it, but it's doing a week-to-week podcast it's hard to find the time, so yeah, no, glad to be back doing it again.
I'm very glad to have you with me, and I will try my best not to keep you here till 1 a.m. So.
Well, we're at 8:20, so but could talk about United for hours and hours. So we'll see when we finish up.
Hopefully, it won't be as late as that. Do you want to, I suppose, explain first of all, like how you got into supporting United? Obviously, you're a Shetlander too, but you've been a United fan since you were young. So if you want to kind of maybe explain a little bit about that and your background with the club and whatnot.
Yeah. So. Like yourself, I got into United through my dad. He wasn't from Manchester himself, but he got into United back in the 70s, just with the big Scottish contingent of players, like guys like Gordon McQueen, God rest his soul, and Joe Jordan, Lou Macari, obviously Dennis Law. So guys like that kind of got his interest in United. So, and it was just United for him. He never really had a Scottish team, so when I was born it was just United, and I didn't like football when I was proper young. It was kind of maybe when I got to like 7-8 years old that I really started to get into them. So like my first memories of United were maybe kind of the 2002-03 season, and then when I really started to like get obsessed with it was like the 03-04 season. And I was just obsessed, like just watched every game. If we didn't win, week ruined. Screaming at the telly if we won. So yeah, just was United daft as a kid.
Yeah, I certainly know that feeling, and I think most people listening to this will be in the same boat, I would imagine. Now, you have chosen the topic for today's episode. I kind of gave you a slightly open question of things that we could talk about.
You did, yes.
And we kind of settled on the question of favourite matches, and you came back with a big old list. So what's the one we've gone for?
Yeah, so we've gone for the 8-2 thrashing of Arsenal in the 2011-12 season. I remember it's the only game I've watched the full match again. Like, I would watch games, highlights, but this one I was just so delighted with the result, how they played. I remember the next day, full rerun, watched it again, loved it just as much. So I'm sure the United fans will like going over this one again, because it was an absolute just ran riot that day.
That's it. It was such a good game, and kind of like I was always confident that we were going to win, because I always expect United to win games, but I don't think any of us kind of expected what happened.
No. Arsenal were, that was kind of the years Arsenal, they were still in that trophy drought, and you read about how Wenger, he was kind of hands tied after the stadium move, paying back that stadium debt, couldn't really go out and get the calibre of players and make the signs that they are now. So, not the best squad, but you still look at their team on paper, like they had good players in that, but we had a good team. But yeah, same as you, I was confident we'd win, had a good start to that season, but never ever saw 8-2 coming. Never.
Well, that's it. Shall we get into it? We've got extended highlights that we'll go through rather than running through the whole game again, because that'll basically just end up in far too much editing for me, and I really can't be bothered. So extended highlights will do.
Sounds good.
I'm sure we'll find plenty enough to talk about.
Absolutely.
During that.
Let's do it. I remember this season this felt like the last top season we got out of Rooney, kind of before he was kind of getting into his later years, kind of wasn't as productive after this season, because I think he scored I think in all comps he got 34 goals that season.
It was something absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, you're right, it was kind of the swan song of peak Rooney.
Yeah, he was unbelievable this season. And then season Welbeck kind of got his breakthrough. I think I remember this game he comes off. I think he pulled his hamstring.
Chris Smalling, Tom Cleverley, Phil Jones, Johnny Evans.
Well, they all say it was mental that this team went on to win the league the next season. Very nearly won it this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked some of the, was this Welbeck's goal maybe?
No. Not quite.
And Cleverley had again, this was Cleverley's breakthrough season. He had a couple of decent loan spells, he was Watford the 9-10 season, then Wigan the season before, and he impressed and got a run in the team this year. And
well, that's it, because he started the season really well, didn't he? He scored in the Charity Shield.
Yeah, when we beat City. Yeah. This is Welbeck's goal.
Lovely scoop over the top from Anderson.
Yeah.
Don't know what the defence is doing, just letting Welbeck just shrug them out the way.
It's a terrible centre-half partnership, Lauren Koscielny and Johan Giroud. And Carl Jenkinson at right back. Dear, oh dear. It's not great.
Chesney wasn't exactly fantastic either.
No.
Danny just walks in, shrugs them off, and loops the header over the keeper.
Yeah. Welbeck just couldn't stay fit. Like I said, he kind of took his chance this season, and he looked good, but yeah, just never really was consistent enough, I don't think.
No.
Oh, Johnny Evans, dear oh dear.
Yeah, we've already skipped to Arsenal's penalty, and it was soft but silly. And then of course Dave saves.
Dave in his debut season.
And something we've hardly ever seen since then, De Gea saving a penalty.
Yeah, this is true.
Count them on one hand.
We had it was quite a. Oh yeah, this. Oh, Ashley Young, man, what a wand of a right foot.
I say this as extended highlights. It seems to be absolutely rapid through the goals.
But
they were all absolutely instant off the bat as well. They were bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Certainly to start with.
No, I was just about to say there, squad had a real fresh look to it this season. Obviously De Gea came in, got Cleverley and Welbeck back from their loans. Ashley Young came in, who I really liked at Villa. And you saw his quality, both his goals were unbelievable in this game.
That's it.
Good little save from De Gea.
Did have the likes of Smalling and Jones at the back, and yeah, they've become a bit of a joke now. But
and of course Jones, Jones signed that summer.
thinking back then, they were like two hot prospect, young up and coming defenders.
Yeah, two good young English centre halves. Like, it was exciting to kind of have that. Like, on paper, it was a good squad. It was a fresh team. Like, a lot of the United fans would like having that number of English boys. And Rooney's free kick. Yeah, got 2 free kicks this game, I think.
Yeah. Just a little nudge across the young, just change the angle a little bit.
I think he does the exact same for his second one.
I think he might be right. We'll see in a few minutes. But,
Chesney, big smack of the post in the face.
Good enough for him. Big old right foot sclaff.
Yeah, that was actually a decent finish, Walcott.
Yeah. Through Dave's legs, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the near post. Probably should do better, but it was a good finish.
That's a good save. I would say this must have been the game that Van Persie was like, I need to get out of Arsenal.
Yeah.
Desperate to come sign for us.
That's it. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit more afterwards.
Oh, Nani, how did you not score there? that was Nani was a player he frustrated the life out of me. He could do the most unbelievable thing 1 minute and then just have you tearing your hair out the next.
That's it. He could be absolutely amazing, but he was so inconsistent.
Yeah, he really frustrated me, Nani. I just never really kind of got to love him. Oh, really, man.
There we go. It's that second free kick, as you said, little nudge across.
Yeah, beautiful.
And back across the keeper. No chance.
No.
With that as well, Anderson just standing offside, facing the goalie.
Yeah.
No doubt, speaking the absolute essence of nonsense to him. Smalling forwards.
I think oh, lovely. See, that's what Nani could do.
Yeah. Just give the goalie the eyes and just lift it over.
Confident as you like. Yeah, I think Small in that season. I think he played a lot of the season at right back. So you still had you had obviously signed Jones, and then you still had Nemanja and Ferdinand in the team,
and Johnny Evans as well.
And Evans, he's playing. Oh, Park.
Yeah, Smalling had a bit of pace around him.
Yeah, no, he was actually decent. Rooney was unreal this game.
Yeah. Again, almost Cantona-esque chip.
Yeah.
It's a shame it came back off the post.
How good was Park? Love Park.
He's one of those players that, like, there's never anything flashy with him.
Nah.
He always looked like his hair was like Lego hair, just clipped onto his head. But
you just loved him though. You knew you got absolute maximum effort every single game.
That's it. He worked so hard. He just ran and ran and ran, and he was quality with it as well. Like, nothing flashy, but always really effective.
He was Sir Alex's like go-to guy for the big games. Like, I think because he started the 2011 Champions League final over Nani or someone kind of that could maybe create a bit more, but Sir Alex knew I'll get the work rate from him.
Need the effort from Park, exactly.
And
need that industry.
I think it was Jenkinson with
another clumsy as challenge.
Absolute horrendous. I don't even know where he's playing these days.
Is he still playing?
I wouldn't sign him.
No.
Clumsy one from Walcott as well.
Yeah. Just bringing down everyone in the box.
Not actually that much contact when you look at it from that angle.
No, it's really not. But Arsenal's penalty was soft as well. So
Yeah.
Rooney steps up, sends Szczesny the wrong way. Ball in the bottom corner. Giggsy off the bench. Goes back to Young on the edge of the area and boom.
Young had a very good first season.
Again, he became one of these players that became almost a bit of a joke because he stayed at United far too long.
Yeah.
But when he first arrived, like, he was quality. You forget how good he actually was when you see things like this back again.
Yeah, I mean,
he was great at Villa.
Yeah, got him for
like 12 million, I think.
I think it was a bit more. I think he was around the 18 mark, but it wasn't. Obviously, we're going back over 10 years. Like, it was a lot of money, but it wasn't extortionate. Like, it was probably good value. And then you got like 10 years of service out of him, more than that probably. Obviously, ended up dropping back, playing a lot of his later years as a fullback. So you didn't get that creativity out of him as much. But the first few years, he was. I loved him. Like, I thought he was brilliant.
No, he was one of those players that you couldn't fault him for effort. He would, a bit like Park, he would always run himself into the ground, and like maybe didn't achieve as much as he could have done or should have done.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily on him. I say at the time that he joined, Fergie was only there for a couple more years, and we all know what happened after he left.
Yeah. After this game, I think Wenger, he shipped out. I think he got rid of 3 guys straight away. Sold, thinking you're never playing for me again. And then he got a few kind of, I don't know if you call them panic buys, but like I said, his hands were tied with his signings. I think that was when like Arteta came in, and I can't remember who else they all signed, but yeah, Wenger had a bit of a kind of reaction to that game. But
we better hold that thought while he chews on an antler.
A few moments later.
Okay, we've just had to have a brief intermission due to the fact that my dog decided now would be the perfect time to chew on an antler and refuse to leave the room. So, we can't even really remember where we were.
No.
However, full time, United 8, Arsenal 2.
Yeah.
I suppose it's probably a good time to kind of move on and let's talk about sort of the overall impact of the game and things that were kind of happening in the aftermath, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to lie, I've not massively done big research or gone over the season, but I remember, like, you know, I think that was our 3rd game of the season. I think we won 2 more games after this, so I think we won the first 5 games of the season. Then I think we had a draw away to Stoke, and then possibly won another game before the demolition job by City. So no, it was a good start. Like I said, the squad was looking very fresh. Kind of everyone was, because United, in my time supporting them, we always seem to start the season slow. Like a couple of draws, maybe a loss. So for us, I mean, this must have been the first year in a while we started the season with 5 wins. I think definitely in my time supporting United. So you're thinking, you know, we've won the league the year before, and you're thinking, you know, this was more the year City were going to push on. You know, they had the signing of Aguero, and you're thinking they're really going to come in as the big challengers. But I remember after the Arsenal game thinking, yeah, we're looking really good. And like I said, carried it on with maybe 2 more wins, drew away to Stoke, another win, then the 6-1, and that was kind of the game that was probably most remembered that season.
Yeah, we don't really need to dwell on how the season ended because that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was
like absolutely sickening. So we'll just kind of move on from that. I suppose you were talking about like the squad being refreshed for this season, and I guess it was kind of Fergie's last roll of the dice and his last effort at building a team. And yeah, okay, we spent a fair bit of money on Ashley Young, and like Jones and Smalling weren't particularly cheap either, Jones particularly. But around about this time, we were starting to really sort of feel the effects of Glazernomics.
Yeah.
And like weren't able to spend the money that we'd spent before because the club was having to pay off debt.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
So it was Fergie, again, with at least one hand tied behind his back, trying to kind of develop and build another team. And maybe it was a step too far. Maybe it was kind of, there was almost too much change. I don't know. And maybe it wasn't quite enough experience in the squad to really kind of haul them over the line and get that one extra point that we would have needed.
I mean, we lost a lot of experience that summer of 2011. Obviously, Van der Sar and Scholes retired. Hargreaves got released, and then you lost big experienced guys like Wes Brown, John O'Shea, who both went to Sunderland, and then a lot of squad players. There was a big clear out that summer. I'm just looking at the list, like a lot more of the squad players, guys like Oliver Gill, Nicky Ajose, Gabriel Obertan, Darren Gibson, Danny Drinkwater, Mami Biram Diouf and Ravel Morrison, and some academy guys. So there was a big clear out, but like I said, that big experience of Van der Sar and Scholes, especially, like, 2-year start Scholes. I mean, that 2010-11 season, it was brilliant that season, like just bossing the midfield, some of the goals. I always remember after the Champions League final defeat to Barca, Xavi and Iniesta both desperate to get a shirt because he's held in high regard over there. So to lose guys like that, and then, but on paper we still had a good squad. Like we said, Jones, Young, De Gea came in. Eventually we got Scholes back in January of that time. I remember he made his second debut against City in the FA Cup.
That's right, yeah, came back on in the 22 shirt.
Yeah, so we know De Gea, he struggled that first season, kind of acclimatising to the league. He wasn't the keeper that he went on to become. Young and Jones kind of hit the ground running a bit more, and you're right about I think that was the summer as well. We were looking at, there was the big talk about getting Lucas Moura from Sao Paulo, but they were quoting like £40 million. I think even with the Glazer money, Fergie wasn't ready to be kind of spending that kind of money on. I mean, Moura would have only been like 19, 20 at that time. And then it was maybe that summer or the summer after, I can't remember. Again, Hazard was talked about for us.
That's right, yeah.
But again, the money was mental. Fergie, I always remember he was very reluctant to be paying them fees. Like when the money started to go mental and all of a sudden everyone is worth £40 million kind of thing, he wasn't willing to spend that. I think maybe it could have been available, he just didn't want to be spending it.
And especially not on like a young player untested in the league. Because one thing spending like big money on a player that is tested in the physicality of the Premier League.
Yeah.
And even then, I was listening to an interview with De Gea recently, and he was saying like even from this first season, like the change in physicality in the league is ridiculous. It used to be so much more physical then than it is now.
Yeah.
Like it's changed a lot, and to spend 40 million, which at the time was really big money, on an untested teenager, to throw them into that, you can understand the reluctance.
Yeah, but then I think you had like City that would start throwing that money. They didn't care, and it maybe what started to push them ahead a little bit. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, like I said, this was the season City started to really challenge, and yeah, they spent big on obviously like Aguero and that, but they still didn't really go on to dominate until Pep came in. Obviously they won the league this 11-12 season, then again in 13-14, but then they didn't win it for 4 more years, I think. So they still took a while before they started to dominate. And then United, obviously after Fergie's time, they realised, look, the way the market went with the new TV deal, that this was when I started to kind of really fall out of love with United, because the money just went mental when that, what was it, £5.5 billion TV deal got signed, and then all of a sudden you're signing guys for 70, 80, 90 million pound. And I came from the growing up of the absolute world-class footballers were £30 million. Like, if you went for £30 million, you were absolute world-class. You know, like Figo, I mean, Zidane, when he went to Real for 46 million quid, that was just obscene. Like, that was unbelievable money to be going for that. And you thought that record's never going to be getting broken. And then obviously, like Ronaldo, when he left, 80 million again, you were like, that's just, you couldn't comprehend that kind of money.
Yeah.
But now everyone's going for that. Ronaldo was probably the only man ever that could make 80 million look cheap for what Real got out of him. So the money just went crazy. Like I said, United were signing guys for 30, 40, 50 million pound that just never delivered. And I kind of really struggled to keep up with that. Yeah, just it all changed really. And the Glazers, obviously, they get a lot of hate. I think that, you know, they've profited in their own pockets out of Man United and have left Man United worse off. But at the same time, they've still put up them funds for players to try and be competitive. But I feel like we've
spent the money so badly.
Yeah,
like that's part of the problem.
I think too many players come to United now, and I hope it's going to get kicked out now with Ten Hag, but I think too many players under like Oli and Mourinho, they were just coming for a payday, thought I can come here, get paid, and they just didn't do the business. You know, Alexis Sanchez came for $500,000 a week and stuff. It was mental, and you just never got it. But yeah, I've kind of gone on maybe a bit of a tangent there, kind of getting more into the present day. But going back to the season we're discussing, like I don't think Fergie's he maybe didn't sign as many players as he wanted to, but I don't think his business was bad. Like I said, having Young is a bit of extra competition on the wings. You know, with Giggsy obviously getting a bit older was good business, and for £18 million, I thought that wasn't bad. De Gea, obviously we needed a new keeper. I think De Gea cost us, was he high teens as well?
I think so, yeah.
And then Jones was about
19
million,
something like that, yeah,
and around that. And obviously had a good. It was probably a lot of money to spend, because I think he was only 19, 20 at the time.
Yeah, he was young. He was still teens.
Yeah, he'd had a good season with Blackburn the year before, but that was a lot of money to pay for him, and he was good that first season with United. So yeah, maybe we were just missing a little bit. Maybe like I think a top quality central midfielder, because obviously Cleverley got his chance with Scholes retiring, but I mean they went on to win the league the next season. You know, you're playing primarily Anderson and Tom Cleverley. Very nearly won the league in 11-12 with Anderson and Cleverley, but I think someone like that, we were just a quality centre mid we were missing, because we had good, you know, Young and Nani on the wings was good. Rooney up front with, you know, Welbeck was having his breakthrough season, was doing well. You still had Chicharito. Defence was still very good. Nemanja, Rio, Evra. Smalling was playing well at right back. I think, yeah, still had Raphael. He was another I struggled to like, but it was still a good squad. But yeah, I think Fergie knew the way the market was going. I think he was still maybe reluctant to follow on and be paying some of the mental money that was starting to come into the game.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. And like we said, like we were so close to the league this season with the team that we had, and I say maybe one or two extra pieces in the puzzle would have got us over that line and got us the 1 point extra that we needed. But I say it was building towards winning the league again the next year, which was again primarily mostly the same squad again.
Just with RVP.
Yeah,
it's pretty much
just brought Van Persie in, and that's, like I said, that's that difference maker.
Yeah, 100%.
Which sometimes is all it needs. And again, maybe it's not quite the same situation today, and not want to talk too much about the modern stuff, but we're not that many pieces away from at least challenging again. I don't think. Like,
no,
an extra striker, an extra midfielder, probably a goalie. Like, are we in 2011, 2012 again without having won the league the year before?
Yeah, it's
there's parallels.
Yeah, pieces are there, but maybe a couple more, and you could be there. But we'll just need to see for this year. But no, United, they just that 11-12 season, they just they did just blow it at the end, didn't they? I actually remember being at towards the end of the season, the QPR game at home. Me and Dad went. We won 2-0. And then after I went back to the hotel and in the bar watching Arsenal beat City 1-0, and that put us 8 clear with 5 to go, and everyone's just thinking it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously
it should have been,
but then obviously we lost to Wigan, we lost to City, then we had the 4-4 with Everton, and then obviously everyone knows what happened on the last day. So yeah, sickening, but it was a sickening way to lose it. But like I said, the start of the season when we had the 8-2 and then a couple more wins after that, you're thinking this could be a really good season for us, and unfortunately it just didn't happen. And then I remember, I think I read it in Sir Alex's autobiography, the 11-12 season he was going to retire after that year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wanted to win the league again, and then he'd walk out. But the way it got lost, he was like, I can't leave it like that. And then
that's it. Got to do this properly.
Yeah. Then we stormed it the next. I think we won it by 11 points. Did we the season after?
Absolutely crushed it.
And then he went, and then it's just been miserable ever since he's been gone. So yeah.
That's it. We started this podcast talking about an 8-2 win over Arsenal, and suddenly we've ended up on a slightly downbeat, depressive note. So we should try and bring back the happiness maybe a little bit before we wrap up.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Obviously, it's an 8-2 win against Arsenal at such a unexpectedly strong performance, an unexpectedly good game.
Like I said, that it was not the best Arsenal team you've ever seen, but like it was still to beat Arsenal 8-2. Like, you know, it wasn't the Arsenal of the Invincibles and, you know, Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira. It wasn't. They were so far away from that, but like still, like go and beat Arsenal 8-2, because you're not beating Blackburn, Birmingham 8-2, are you? Like, to go and do it against Arsenal, it was like I remember sitting watching. I was like, I cannot believe what I'm watching. Just absolutely destroying them. It was unreal. Like I said, Rooney was unplayable that game. 2 brilliant free kicks. Young, both his goals, absolutely brilliant. Nani, just little audacious chip, and Welbeck causing the centre halves all sorts of problems, like big physical, like it looked so good. Just, it was like, yeah, you know, like I was saying, like this fresh looking team after like the bit of a clear out in the summer, and then some fresh faces, guys coming back from loans that had done well and getting in the team. And I remember, you know, United fans were buzzing, you know, there's big English contingent in the team and stuff, you know.
That's it, yeah, lots of young English players coming through. Like, good start to the season, guys that had really kind of gone out and earned their place in the team as well, as well as the guys that had been brought in. And like it's the best of what United is and should be.
Oh, totally. Like, it's and I remember that season, that home strip, actually, that was actually probably one of my favourite of the Nike strips. I actually had Cleverly on my top that one, and then Cleverly soon was found out to not be kind of worthy of playing, and then it was that way you almost retired the shirt. You don't be seen out wearing it, thinking why you got a shirt with Cleverly on it and stuff.
Put that in the back of the cupboard, like just to forget that's here.
I did have a few of them in my time, of guys that turned out to be a bit of duds, and then you're too embarrassed to wear the shirt after. So
it's all right. I had Memphis Depay on one of mine. So.
Oh no, I got Zaha on one. For his whole 6 months that he played for us, really. So
fantastic. I think this could nearly be a separate podcast. Like
Shirts.
all of the dud signings and the shirt printing we got that we probably shouldn't have
regretted. Yeah, but
well, I think that's probably as good a place to wrap up.
Yes.
For this one as anything.
No,
we'll definitely get you back to talk about some of that kind of stuff, because that I think would be really, really fun.
I would love to.
But you'll be more than welcome.
Brilliant.
Before we go, do you have anything that you want to close out with? Anything you want to say?
No, just it's been good, like watching United, kind of remembering back to the happy days. Like I said, it's I must admit I don't follow it as much as I did. Like I said, for me the money's ruined it a bit. I'm kind of I keep up. I still want them to win, do well, like still love them, but it's good, like seeing guys that again, Rooney, just idolised him when I was younger, and Giggsy and that, and it's no, it's been good. It's been good. I haven't seen that game in a long time, so it kind of brings your excitement back for watching them and that. So it's been very enjoyable. So yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you very much for coming along and talking. And it's nice to pod with you again after.
I know
after all these years.
We'll try not leave it 6 years before the next one.
Definitely not. And I'm sure we'll get you back before then.
We've finished at 9:20, not 1:30 in the morning. So it's all good.
Definitely beneficial. Right. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Iain. And yeah, we shall definitely bring you back on again soon.
Brilliant. Bring it on.
If you've enjoyed this episode of Retro Devils, the best way to help the show is to leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review on whichever platform you listen to your podcasts. It really is a very simple and easy way to get more eyes and ears on the show, and I personally would really appreciate that. Also, there's just one more week to go to get your votes in for our Team of the 90s goalkeeper position. You can vote for that on our Facebook group, which is linked in the show notes below. The voting closes on Sunday the 10th of September. That is the final deadline, so there's not a huge amount of time to go to get your votes in. So head on over to the Retro Devils Facebook group now and vote for your choice for goalkeeper of the 90s. Also in the show notes are all the links to our social medias, Patreon, all of that good stuff. It's all there if you want to follow along with the show between shows, or maybe kick a little bit of money our way to help the show to grow and to keep paying the server costs, keep the lights on around here. And all money gets ploughed directly back into the show to help make it a better product for you. But that'll do it for now. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Retro Devils, the Manchester United History Podcast. I've been John, and I will talk to you very soon.